can't hurt.
Moms everywhere are finding creative ways to help their kids eat 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
You're listening to the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy, Big Kenny.
Yes. Good morning.
I wanted to talk to you about hairstyle.
Is there something wrong with the one that I'm currently sporting? Is this like a HR situation or this?
I just wanted to see if you've been noticing that the high top fade is making a comeback. Have you been noticing that? Very slow.
In many bad ways too. It's not coming back in the old traditional just, low skin on the side, high hair in the top. It's coming back, manifesting itself in like designs and
so we started in the perm.
Different colors.
The perm. Well, we had the afro with Julius Erving.
Right.
He used to have the big afro.
Okay.
Early 80s, we kind of went to the ball fade, which me and you kind of rock now. That's kind of never went out of style.
That's always been a traditional man's hairstyle.
Correct. Then you had athletes like a Michael Jordan. They lost their hair, basically. And so the bald head became a popular hairstyle for the athlete, the male athlete.
Right, for a moment.
For a second. Then plaits came. They braided their hair up.
Right.
RG3 rocked some type of style of that. I don't actually
some
know.
Hybrid. He's got
what mix is that?
It's like a ethanol and regular gas hybrid on his head. That's I think it runs on like clean fuel or something like that.
It's like he had a perm and it dried up, and then he just made some plaits out of it.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
So then we got our braids, a la Roddy White, Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
They rocked the long braids. Now, Fitzgerald, who yesterday, if you watched the Falcon game, saw his hangs long.
Right.
They cover almost his number. Now, I don't know how he washes it, but it's real long.
And do they classify those when they get that long as dreadlocks, or that's still the braids? I mean, because they have to get it braided, so I would manage to.
Now, I learned yesterday from one of my homeboys that the dreadlock is when you take the locks, the braids, like a Larry Fitzgerald,
right,
and you braid them together so you can't get a comb or anything through them at all. So that's kind of like what Chris Johnson for Tennessee rocks. He rocks those dreadlocks.
Right.
Now, dreadlocks to me always look like they have a lot of lint and dust in them. You ever notice that? Like, they don't never look clean.
I used to wear dreadlocks, and it takes a whole lot to keep them clean, and I was always confused.
Yeah, dreadlocks, man? You've been keeping you don't have no picture of that?
Yeah, I got it somewhere, but I barely, usually the picture with me and the dreadlocks has the number across my chest. So
a long number?
Yeah, the long numbers. So I keep those hidden. But I've always been confused. When I had dreadlocks, it was just I stopped cutting my hair, I stopped combing my hair, and then it eventually locked up. I've always been confused by the guys that'll go out to like a beauty salon and have Chez Francois like getting their hair.
What is it? Chez
Francois. He gets in his hair, and I want to look like a thug. Okay, and then they get in and they do the whole shampoo, and I don't know. That's always been a different thing to me too. But I mean, each his own.
And why is the hairdresser always a little different?
I don't know. I'm uncomfortable going to hairstylist. I mean, I actually grew dreadlocks to avoid going to the barber regularly, but now I've got I cut my hair, so I got to go.
So the Bobby Brown, and not the Bobby Brown that the rappers talk about.
Right.
Using the Bobby Brown. The Bobby Brown Gumby look from the 80s.
With the slant.
It's the slant. It's
right.
coming back. I watched a couple of games, NFL, college basketball. Kids are starting to go back to that. I never thought that look would come back. I think that's why I had to bring this to the table today. It was a look. You know how some things you think like the Jerry curl?
Right.
I just can't ever see the Jerry curl. That Deion Sanders wet, Eric Dickerson dripping Jerry curl. Remember Eric Dickerson? Why is his Jerry curl drip, though?
Well,
he had a wet Jerry curl.
I've always been amazed by, okay, there may be some dude out there that's just like super nostalgic, like I'm going to go get me one of the old school cuts and I'm going to rock it real hard and I'm going to be unique. And then the guy that surprises me is the guy that looks at him and goes, I'm going to do that too.
The copycat.
Right. I mean, you know, like the one hairstyle that was never supposed to come back in life, in history again, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it too, and then maybe other people will follow us. It's just, I'm amazed by the people that are followed so much,
right,
that follow other trends. I mean, I would imagine you'd be a trendsetter instead of following trends. So,
yeah, because you asked that guy for your barber, like, who did that to your hair? I'm going to do that too. So you had to go down that road.
Right. You had to find somebody that's not only willing to do it but capable, you know, because that skill set went out like in the early 80s.
Well, you know, I've had my hair cut. I will be buried in the bald fade. But Big Kenny, we do have to find a picture of you in them dreadlocks. And since you said it has a long number, I know it's on record.
One. We'll find. Yeah, it's public record.
It's public
somewhere,
record.
I'm
We
sure
just had to find a couple computer keys to find it. But we'll be back with more of the Sports Jock Show. Can you imagine the good producer?
In something ethnic? No.
We'll be back.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
Far from the city, where the Lorax roams free, is the home of the magical truffula trees. In a place you will love, with things you'll adore. It's a magical spot. We call it the forest.
Everyone here needs the trees.
And who are you?
I'm the Lorax, guardian of the forest.
The forest is there for you to explore. So come once to see it, then come back lots more.
Just like hearing you say it.
Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Psst. Hey, over here.
What?
Right here, on the side of the house.
Who said that?
Look down. I'm right at your feet.
Wait, the basketball?
Yes, the basketball. Right down here, where the kids left me a long time ago. Man, you know how lonely it is being a ball and not being able to bounce or roll?
Excuse me?
Remember when you got me for the kids? You said, now kids, you have no excuse not to go outside and play.
Uh-huh.
Wow. I'll miss flying through the air and hearing the shouts of joy when I swish through the basket. What do you say? Could you give me a little air and remind the kids of how fun I still am?
Okay. Oh, wow. You are flat.
Easy, I'm ticklish. Let's get bouncing.
As Native American parents and caregivers, our encouragement to healthy lifestyles for our kids is helping them get outside and play. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov/Indian Country. Brought to you by USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. I am informed that we are posting a picture of the funny man himself, Big Kenny, on our page. Big Kenny, is that really you?
Yeah, and every time I see these pictures, I'm reminded about the permanent and irreversible nature of the internet. You know what I mean? I'm always telling the young children, please make wise decisions, because once that stuff is out there, it's irreversible. And yes, that is.
And what's that style called?
Dreadlocks. That was my autonomous work for myself. Can't nobody tell me what to do. Look.
Can you turn that around for me right there? Let me get a little deeper look into that. And you got the mustache going with it?
I used to have a little goatee, the whole thing. I was all the way into my self-employed groove.
Self-employed groove?
And that's what it was all about. There's a story behind it. Some years ago when I was in college, I waited tables at this restaurant. It was kind of a fancy restaurant. Being the trailblazer that I am, I was the second, I think, black waiter that they had working the front of the house. And one day, one of the managers asked me to get a haircut.
Okay.
And I was offended that, I'm grown. How can you tell me to cut my hair? But, my hair was curly and he was all on it looks unkept. And I knew it was some racism behind it. But, being a man that had bills to pay, I cut my hair and I said to myself that one day when I work for myself and I don't have to answer to anybody, I'll let my hair do whatever it wants to do.
Oh, okay.
And I stopped cutting it, stopped combing it, and that's what it ended up doing. And I wore that for like 7 years.
So you rebelled for 7 years. That's the statute of limitations.
Yeah, that was it for me. 7 years, and then I went back to my show up in court look. The show up in court hoping to get off look. That I had to go back to that.
Well, thank goodness for that. That is some funny stuff. Every once in a while, them guys okay over there. Every once in a while.
And I think the most amazing thing to me about having worn my hair like that for 7 years was I truly know that the people around me love me, because it wasn't until after I cut my hair that everybody went, man, I'm so glad you cut your hair. Everybody, my aunts, my cousins, like, oh, you look such like the person that we like.
After
now.
the fact.
Right.
You let me
after the fact.
walk around for 7 years without saying anything.
But their thing was, hey, if it made you happy, we just want you to be happy. So
I heard that.
I appreciated that.
Well, occasionally we try to let our producers interact in the show. One of them tries to forcibly put himself in the mix. But
he's the Ben Roethlisberger of production.
But we're going to do our Sports Jock Behind the Glass segment. I can't wait. I'm always thrilled to see what these two people be thinking and what they want to find out about sports. So we're going to try this, ladies and gentlemen.
Fingers crossed.
And as you know, it's always touch and go with this segment. So let me see who I'm going to go with.
Resume's
first.
ready.
I'm going to go with the good producer because he usually has a sensible question. Let's see what he has to ask today.
Good morning, Sports Jock. My question, I'm glad that Lady T's not here. It doesn't have to do with sports. It has to do with the election. How do you win? How do you win when you're running against Santa Claus? If somebody's giving stuff away, how do you win? I know you know.
How do you win an election?
Sports-related question.
When you're running against Santa Claus, you get the other man institutionalized because he thinks he's Santa Claus, I guess. Maybe you you burn his reindeer or something. I'm lost on that one.
Is that your way of alluding to the fact that you think that President Obama gives a bunch of entitlement programs away and that's why he won the election? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I thought that's what he was saying.
But you
I
were
was
saying
trying to stay.
You were saying it in a cowardly, anonymous way. Is that what are you from the Jets locker room? Say what you mean and mean what you say, man. Spit it out.
It's an Obama-Romney question.
That's an Obama-Romney question.
Well, I don't know, good producer. I'm not going to touch that one today because then I'll sound like a sad loser, as the man already won. So I have to give him his props. We got to stay united.
Right now, you sound like Karl Rove. You ought to be down in Florida still counting votes right now, sir. I mean, you have really just taken it there with it. Are you still that bitter? I mean, the inauguration's tomorrow, and this dude's still talking about election night questions.
So let's see what the bad producer has to ask. Hold on. Let me get my breath.
We know this will be stellar.
Hey, I want to say I like that Big Kenny, the one he looks like Which Way Is Up, Richard Pryor, the preacher.
This dude.
I just had to say that.
What's your question?
The question is, with the college season winding down and it's recruiting season coming up, and a lot of these coaches are going to get fired at these big universities. What are the parents, or how would that weigh your decision as a student athlete on if you made a commitment or you was leaning toward that school? How's that affect as far as you going forward with you and your parents and your decision on what college you should choose?
Well, hopefully in the time that I have to pick, which is usually February, went on a recruiting trip to that university, and they would have hired a new coach. In certain situations, a new coach can make you come even more to that school when you throw out certain names, especially if you're a defensive player and somebody says, oh, Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator of Alabama, took the job in Tennessee. So sometimes recruiting is you can use a name a la Urban Meyer did with Ohio State. But I think that definitely it factors in because you can lose recruits because maybe they were only coming to that school for that coach. I know I went to Auburn because Pat Dye was the coach, and he was recruiting me more than I did knowing anything about Auburn. So that is going to be on a lot of these institutions' minds, and that's why you see they're making this move now so they can put into play some of the names that they want to hire. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee doesn't announce a new coach as soon as the game is over Saturday, that they have a new coach so they can get in the recruiting war. But that was a good question there, bad producer. You got your game up. Oh, the tall lady said that was her question. Oh, you Milli Vanilli me, man. We'll be right back with more of the Sports Jock Show.
He's Milli, he's Vanilli.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
I don't believe it. My savings are gone. They're gone.
You're kidding.
Nope, they're gone. They're gone.
Okay, all right. Think about it. Where did you have them last?
I remember I was home, then I took them, and then I spent them on that vacation to Aruba. Then I bought this miniature suit of armor I saw in the in-flight magazine.
And that's the last you saw of your savings?
Yes.
This is so weird.
I know, right?
Weird? Not really. Not saving now means no money later. You'd be surprised how quickly a little money from every paycheck can really add up. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
The armor is cool, though. Oops. I think I broke its gauntlet.
You broke my favorite part.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. If you stack their desks one atop the other, it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. That's 12 Empire State Buildings. But what's truly scary is that another stack is going up tomorrow. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. Kenny, it's already noon, man.
And he's playing this Earth, Wind, and Fire. Got me feeling like I ought to have my chest hair showing or something like that. I mean, I'm saying, can I get a silk shirt with a long collar, please?
remember when men used to wear high stack shoes, though? What was that about?
Let
Was
me
that
tell
you?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh,
That
okay.
was-
I was just making
That was
sure.
a generation ahead of me. But I have an uncle, and I used to think my uncle was cool as cool could be when he stepped out. And, I mean, and these stacks weren't like heeled shoes. They were
Right.
like 4 or 5 inch platform shoes. And when he would put on those platform shoes with the little elephant ear bell bottom slacks and the multicolored paisley shirt, I thought that dude was going in.
He was going hard.
And my dad was always way more conservative than that. You know, he's regular slacks, button down, vests, you know, sport coat, something like that. And he would always look at my uncle like, "What are you wearing?" And I always thought that is so live. And now I look back like, "What are you wearing?"
Yeah, I never got that little 4-inch. But I guess, you know, Prince used to always wear heels, and we.
No, Prince didn't wear stacks. Prince wore heels.
Oh, is that what it was?
There's a difference between platform shoes and heels. He actually wore like some, you know.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, you're talking about overkill. Speaking of killing, I'm reading the paper last week, and they sentenced a kid to life in prison without parole. 14 more life sentences. And 290 years. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, how does this calculation work?
What did he do, first of all?
He was a part of some gang. His name is Tamario Wise. It was murder somebody, rape somebody, armed robbery.
Like all in the same
little
crime?
Almost the same, in the crime.
Murder, robbery, armed robbery, and rape. Yeah, I mean, you know, you overkill, I overkill. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's a vicious cycle. You go way too far. I mean, like, murdering me is not enough. You got to rob me and rape me too. I mean, you know.
I'm saying, you know how you read something, it's like you're trying to figure out, so you gave me life in prison without parole.
Right.
Then you gave me 14 more life sentences to go along with that.
Just in case, like, I die a bunch of times and come back.
And then you gave me 290 years on top of that.
Just in case. I mean, you know.
Right. Just say I don't die in prison. It just, I mean.
Why not just give him the death penalty?
And he's 19, so.
I'm saying, why not just go ahead and give him the gas chamber and let that be that?
He's definitely going to be Shawshank Redemption with that kind of statistic. That is crazy. One other crazy thing before we get back to sports, I have to give you some raw numbers, Big Kenny, sometime. Down in Brazil, and this could be sports related. You know, the Olympics is going to be in Rio,
right,
in 2016. Well, in Sao Paulo,
right,
they had 31 murders in one weekend.
Which means Brazil's already qualified for the murder team for the Olympics. What, 30 in one weekend? 30
in one weekend. They've had 90 police officers killed this year already in Sao Paulo.
I was going to say the 31 murders in one weekend. Chicago's got that beat butt. I don't think we killing police officers.
90 police officers. So I
Wow.
know we're not to be a police officer. And they're changing. Looking at that makes me want to change my Olympic plan. You know, people say the Olympics in Rio,
right?
And you think,
then they
wow,
go,
that's a great city to maybe try to go to an Olympics.
But the police will protect us, not so much in Rio.
Exactly. It won't correlate when they say
Now,
you're safe.
Now, are these drug-related crimes? Is this got something to do with the fact that they go topless a lot in Rio? And the
They
men
said
just
it's drug. Most of it is drug related.
Okay.
And Sao Paulo is only, I think, like 90 miles from Rio, so it's not like you're on different sides of Brazil. So I'm quite sure they're going to try to push a lot of these people out of Rio before the Olympics.
Who's going to push them out? Not the police, obviously, because they're taking the L.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
What they're going to do, take up a petition? You guys should go for the Olympics. Get here.
I don't know how they're going to get
just
them out of
leave.
there.
You stop all your killings, okay? No more killings.
And on a sad note.
Like murder and
that wasn't
sad enough.
No,
Yeah.
that wasn't sad enough. 4 vets died in Midland, Texas, on a float. No, did you see this story?
Yeah, I saw
It's sad. They say the float got hit by a train.
Right.
4 people died, 16 people injured. They were on a float in a parade for veterans.
Right.
And it's just crazy because you're thinking these people fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, where people were actually trying to kill them. And now we're in a parade to celebrate us as vets. And we get by the train.
And I don't mean to make light of the tragedy, but when you were in Iraq and Afghanistan, part of your job was to see incoming rocket-launched grenades and
Right.
missiles. I mean, I'm just saying a train's a little bit bigger than a missile, and it was daylight when this happened.
Daylight.
The gates were down. They said the sirens and the bells were going off. How did this happen?
It's a mystery. That's what I'm saying.
No one thought, hey, that's a train.
Yeah, if I organized a parade, I think I should have called the train people, right?
Or at least stop the parade when the train comes through. I mean, even if you didn't call them, maybe let's stop the floats till the train goes past, then we'll continue on.
Well, someone we know we cannot stop is coming up next. Our man Doug Fireball Turnbull, once he's on, he is on. We'll
to
be
the
back
finish line.
with the Sports Jock Show right after this.
Got to trust me, man.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait. Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd
on.
you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park? Getting frisky in the dark, I gave your eye a poke. I think the dog is also in the bed. Do I smell smoke, you and me? We never, ever, ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Players Lounge. You have been given full access to the Players Lounge on the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. NASCAR has its Sprint Cup champion. Brad Keselowski is that young man. The 28-year-old stole the show this year and now can take his trophy home for Penske Racing, who unbelievably, this is the first time Penske has won the Sprint Cup. But when we want to talk our NASCAR, we always get our man Doug Fireball Turnbull on the line. Doug, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm going good, man. How are you doing? Good afternoon to you.
I'm doing very well, man. Just enjoying myself, and much like Brad Keselowski was during his Sports Center interview right after the race last night, I'm kind of buzzing off what's been an exciting NASCAR season and an exciting new NASCAR champion.
When you look at Brad Keselowski, first of all, did he actually say he wants to date a movie star? Is that something?
Well, you know, what I actually had a one-on-one interview and conversation with him and such back in April, right before he won the Talladega race, and he mentioned to me that his celebrity crush was Jennifer Love Hewitt, who is, by the way, I would say about 10 years his senior. He's 28 years old, and Jennifer Love Hewitt's got to be in her upper 30s or so, I think. Anyway, she's been around a long time. So I'm wondering if that's who he was talking about, because I think she's single, okay? So, but he did say that he wants to date a celebrity, but I think he was just, he was pretty tipsy when he said that. I think he was just, trying to be funny there. But I'm sure if Jennifer Love Hewitt came around, he'd say yes.
Yeah, I bet he would say yes, along with a lot of other men in the NASCAR circuit. When you look at Brad's body of work this year, how impressive does it stack up against former winners?
I think it's very impressive. His average finish of the chase, which I believe was about 6.3, 6.2, was the exact same as Tony Stewart, who won 5 races in the chase last year. And if you take out his 15th place finish that he had last night, he had one of the best runs of the chase as far as his worst finish. Up until last night when he finished 15th, his worst finish in the chase this year was 11th. He had 2 wins. Every other finish was, in the top 10, and then he had the 11th place finish in Charlotte. Yesterday, he could afford to play prevent defense a little bit, and so the team didn't have to quite push it as far, but they certainly wanted to finish in that 15th spot so they could say that he won the championship outright regardless of what Jimmy Johnson did, and that's exactly what he did. So his season overall, we've seen guys win, even in the last few years, 8, 9, 10 races. But what he was able to do with a team that most people would argue is not as strong as the others. Penske Racing's only a 2-car team. They don't have 3 or 4 cars. They only have 1 car in the chase. I'd say it's pretty remarkable. And considering Keselowski hasn't won as many races in his career, he's the second fastest champion in terms of the number of starts in the Cup Series. I think what he and his crew chief Paul Wolfe were able to pull off as far as outsmarting the field, getting the wins when they could take them, and getting the best finishes when they could when they weren't always the fastest, was pretty remarkable.
And when you look at this being the first Sprint Cup championship for Penske Racing, is that, they've been around a long, long time, Fireball.
Yeah, they certainly have. And that Penske started a NASCAR team back in, the 70s or so, but then quickly got out of NASCAR. And he, maybe won a race or two then, but he certainly wasn't in the running for a championship. He came back in the early 90s with one of the biggest drivers of that era, Rusty Wallace. Rusty Wallace finished second or third in the points in 93 or 94 and won a bunch of races in that time period. Didn't bring him a championship then. He spent big money back in the mid-2000s, 2006, to bring Kurt Busch, who won the 2004 championship for Roush Racing. He brought Kurt Busch into his stable, and Busch's situation did not, end well with Penske, and they never won a championship either. Jimmy Johnson won 5 championships in a row, in fact, when they brought Kurt Busch over. And so for Penske to hire Brad Keselowski is really his second best driver back in the 2009 season and starting with 2010. You didn't think that Keselowski would be the guy to get the championship before Kurt Busch. You certainly didn't think that Keselowski would get a championship before other guys like Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin, who seemed to be very close to Kyle Busch. And Keselowski was the guy out of all of them to deliver that first Sprint Cup championship to Roger Penske. He also won a Nationwide Series championship for Roger Penske back in the 2010 season 2 years ago, which was Penske's first ever NASCAR championship, period.
The bad producer here, Conway Twitty, is telling us that Jennifer Love Hewitt is only 33 years old.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm sorry that I...
No, I'm like you, Fireball. I've been knowing her name for 33 years, so I'm weighing that.
She's been around since the late 90s, late 90s. What was she on? Was it Melrose Place? And what show was she on? She's been around forever.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think she might be fudging that number as well. But a number that was not fudged was the fine that was levied against Brad Keselowski, $25,000 for that tweet that he sent last week in Phoenix.
Yeah, it wasn't for the tweet itself. It was for the fact that he had a cell phone in his race car, and that was the biggest thing that befuddled me out of all of that. And we barely touched on it last week amidst all that Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer stuff. But NASCAR really hadn't said explicitly to anybody that cell phones could not be in the race car. In fact, I think NASCAR really liked the fact that Brad Keselowski had a cell phone in his race car and took it out during the red flag of the Daytona 500 and did it. So he decided to do so in Phoenix, just a few months later here, the end of the season, and they decided to slam him with a $25,000 fine. Now listen to this. NASCAR in their press release actually cited a particular rules violation that Brad Keselowski made. In their rule book, NASCAR legend Richard Petty says he thinks NASCAR made the rule up and just decided to regulate as they went along. Now, NASCAR's reasoning, whether they made it up or not, is that since they don't want people to have electronic devices in the cars, phones included, because it can manipulate with certain equipment in the race car. They don't want to open up that Pandora's box. But I think NASCAR did a big disservice to themselves there by just out of nowhere being inconsistent and slamming it with that fine.
And they also slammed Jeff Gordon for his actions in Phoenix, $100,000 for that altercation with Clint Boyer and his crew. They fined Clint Boyer's crew chief $25,000 as well. It's a lot of fine money. Do you think the fine against Jeff was right, $100,000?
I think that finding Jeff Gordon $100,000 is like going to a grocery store and taking one head of lettuce out of the produce section. I'm sorry, it's a lot of money. Sure, 6 figures to anybody, even is a lot, but that's small peas. That's small fries for Jeff Gordon. The reason they fined Clint Boyer's crew chief Brian Patty is because his crew, not Brian Patty himself, but was the one that were the aggressors toward Gordon, and crew chiefs assumed the responsibility of the crew. That was really just a formality there. I'm glad they didn't suspend any crew members for fighting after they pounced on Jeff Gordon for wrecking Clint Boyer. But I made this point last week. As much as I have no problem with Jeff Gordon, he's a great driver, a great ambassador for the sport. Jeff Gordon should have been suspended because of the nature of the crash, because of where he decided to spin him, who he decided, in front of the field, and the fact that it wrapped up other vehicles too. Jeff Gordon should have been suspended because someone could have really gotten hurt, and more importantly, he affected the championship, and he took out a couple other race cars. And what's so ironic is that Jeff Gordon, if he had been suspended, would not have won the race yesterday, which he did. And guess who finished second? The guy he wrecked, Clint Boyer. It would have been interesting to line them up on a restart on a late caution there and see if Boyer would have paid back any revenge and try to get that win.
Fireball, you don't think that it's kind of odd that in sports like football, they're going the extra mile to do what they can to make sure that all of the participants in the game are safe and preventing unnecessary injury? With NASCAR's nature, the fastness of the cars, how close they race, shouldn't something like intentionally wrecking another driver not only get you suspended, but possibly get you put out of racing for a number? I think it should be extremely severe. Just a fine, I don't think does anything.
Well, first off, NASCAR's done a lot as far as the technology of the race cars and building the softer walls that they did several years ago, or installing those. They've done a lot to try to make racing safer. So whether it's an accidental or an intentional wreck, that drivers walk away from them. And if you look at NASCAR's track record over the last, since Dale Earnhardt died, nobody's died in NASCAR since 2001. We've had only 1 or 2 really major injuries in NASCAR in the last 10 or 11 years. So as far as intentional, you can't really take the idea that the whole reason that stock car racing is entertaining in comparison to why a lot of people don't like open wheel racing is because they have fenders over those wheels and they can hit each other if they need to. Whether it's hitting somebody just to nudge them out of the way to pass them, or whether it's exacting sweet revenge on them like Gordon did to Boyer. And so, the NFL still allows you to tackle. They just don't allow you to do certain types of tackling. Right. Taking the rubbing out of racing would make stock car racing almost a different sport, and it would make it probably not that fun to watch. Now, open wheel racing to a certain extent is not popular amongst the stock car crowd or even in North America, but I do have to mention that Formula One came back to the United States yesterday for the first time in 5 years, and they raced at the Circuit of Americas near Austin, Texas, and I think they drew over 100,000 people there. So, which was more people than came to Homestead for the season-ending NASCAR race. So, just to give you an idea that the differences in the crowds there, but NASCAR needs to be consistent. They don't necessarily need to be severe. They need to be consistent. And other drivers, including Kyle Busch last year, have gotten suspended for wrecking someone head on into the outside wall blatantly and furiously like Jeff Gordon did to Clint Boyer. And Gordon did not get suspended, but Bush did. Bush had a criminal record, so to speak, in NASCAR. Gordon did not. I think that they should have been consistent.
Doug Fireball Turnbull, thank you, Fireball, for calling in, helping us with the NASCAR. Brad Keselowski is a name we might need to learn how to spell. We'll be back with more. We'll be back with more of the Sports Jock Show right after this.
When it's time for leaving, I hope you'll understand that I was born.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids who don't know where they'll get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew.
Wait. Mom, what?
What? Hold
What'd
on.
you say?
Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. We'd like to thank our man, our NASCAR reporter, Doug Fireball Turnbull, for helping us out. As me and Big Kenny discussed off air, we do agree that the fine against Jeff Gordon was not indicative of the crime. He should have at least had to miss yesterday's race at Homestead. $100,000 to someone like that. He got $100,000 worth of tires on the car. They should at least suspended him for yesterday's race. But we are in the birthday segment of the show. We have the tall lady joining us in a minute. I see they already bribed her over at Georgia Tech with some gear, but we'll get on that in a minute. Big Kenny, Run from Run DMC had his 48th birthday last week. Were you a Run DMC fan?
Yo! Yeah, I was a big Run DMC fan.
Whoopi Goldberg. Want to take a guess?
632 years old.
57 years old.
I was close.
Yanni, the pianist. Yanni, 58.
Did Yanni play a piano, or did he play like the pan? No, that was Zamfir.
No, he played the piano.
Okay.
He's 58 years old. Jimmy Kimmel had his 45th birthday. Ted Turner. Want to take a guess for Ted?
He's been cryogenically frozen since the 1800s, so I would say 327 years old.
Close. 74 years old, Ted
Turner.
That was close. Ted was a bad boy owning the Braves. He owned about everything at one point. CNN.
He owned Jane Fonda for a little while.
Yeah, he bought her for a couple of dollars. Lauren Hutton, 69 years old. Larry King. I thought Larry King had died. Larry King is still alive?
That's what they keep saying at the Grim Reaper convention every year. Larry King is still alive. Who's in charge of the Larry King account?
79 years old, Larry King, living strong. Gerard Butler, 43. Savion Glover. Remember when tap dancing used to be actually Something to inspire to be. 39 years old. Calvin Klein, 70 years old. Steve Zahn, 45 years old. E40.
Yeah, E40, E40,
45.
E45, so now he's not E40, he's E45.
Ed Asner, 83 years old.
Is that it?
He's still alive.
I'm saying Ed Asner was 83 in the 70s.
He looked like he was. I mean, 83, though. He's holding on. Meg Ryan, 51. Jodie Foster. We've been knowing Jodie Foster her whole life.
Tell me, Clarice.
50 years old.
And that's it. She's 50.
She's 50. Wow. Yeah. Well, she started off on she started off in a commercial.
Bears. No, that was Tatum O'Neal.
She started off as a kid actress in some. Was she the first fire starter or something like that? Yeah. No, that was Drew Barrymore. Yeah. Something. She was a little kid.
She's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Ahmad Rashad.
Was it paper? No, that was Tatum O'Neal. I think Drew. Forget it.
Yeah.
We'll worry about it later.
Ahmad Rashad, 63 years old. I did not know that. I thought I was giving him late 50s. He's 63. He's been dyeing his hair a long time.
Yeah.
Ahmad Rashad, great commentator. Ahmad. And Martin Scorsese, 70 years old.
Whoa.
He still keeps that hair in his ears, though. Why is that?
I don't know. If he knew he was going to live that long, he probably would have taken better care of himself. Because he's been looking quite old for some time.
People Magazine, Sexiest Man Alive. As you remember, they had voted Mila Kunis the sexiest woman. This year's sexiest man, 32-year-old Channing Tatum.
Ooh.
I don't have a comment. I just had to say that since I said the sex. I didn't want to be a male chauvinist and say the woman and not the man. But I don't really have a comment on what make a man sexy. I guess
can't even believe they have a contest for the sexiest guy.
Sexiest man alive. And the puppeteer that played Elmo. He was under some allegations that he had sex with an underage kid.
Elmo's World.
The kid. You watched? I never watched Sesame Street.
Well,
I never got into that.
As a kid, I used to watch it, and now as a parent, I think it's very educational. So,
well, he did get off. The guy did recant, like 2 days later after he had claimed him. So you don't got me suspended.
Elmo didn't do those things that you say he did.
But the puppeteer said it was at least gave him a chance to let everyone know that he was gay. Look at this guy. I'm not going to put any more of your information on my show. Sorry. Nah, man, since you dug it up. Jodie Foster was in Taxi Driver at age 13. She played a prostitute. And let me see, the star of Taxi Driver was Robert De Niro.
And his famous line is, "I'll kill the president for you."
To the prostitute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
because that's where John Hinckley got his little shoot at Reagan idea from.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Who, John Hinckley?
Yes.
Or Reagan? I mean, I'm just saying because I'm pretty sure that Hinckley's alive.
Okay, Hinckley's still alive. I know Reagan is gone.
Reagan is gone. Check with the judges. Is Reagan gone? Okay, yeah. I do believe
we'll be back with the tall lady in just a second.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids who don't know where they'll get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
Far from the city, where the Lorax roams free, is the home of the magical truffula trees. In a place you will love, with things you'll adore it. It's a magical spot. We call it the forest.
Everyone here needs the trees.
And who are you?
I'm the Lorax, guardian of the forest.
The forest is there for you to explore. So come once to see it, then come back lots more.
Just like hearing you say it.
Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do you throw a curveball? How do you build a fort? How do refrigerators run? How do fish learn how to swim?
Kids ask a lot of questions.
How high can you jump?
But you don't have to know every answer.
How many phone numbers are there?
Because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
How do cell phones work?
There are thousands of children in foster care who don't need every question answered.
What's electricity?
They just need you.
What's the moon made of?
For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. Y'all do know that 49-year-old man think that makes him hot right there, don't you? I tell you, man, your Rolodex of music is very limited. But welcome back to the show. I'm the Sports Jock.
This was on my dreadlock playlist. Yeah, when I used to wear the dreadlocks, this was definitely on my playlist.
Oh, we'd like to welcome the tall lady to the show.
Thank you.
She's part of the Sports Jock team, and last week we let her speak on her son being recruited. She came in this morning, and before I could even take a sip of my tea, she was all in my mug, demanding her 3 minutes of fame once again. And with so much violence going on in the workplace these days, I got scared. So she's back on the mic. She went to a high school game, and she just needed to vent to somebody about how her team got robbed. So, tall lady, upon your request and your threat with your 9mm, I have let you on the show. Tell me and Big Kenny what happened at this game that got you so mad.
Look.
All right, thank you for coming in, tall lady. Don't forget, give us a call at 888-926-756. Oh, that wasn't.
You had an issue.
No, the issue was it was a very good game. The guys played hard.
Who was playing?
We played Creekside High School from Fairburn, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Played Thomas County Central High School in Thomas County, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
So we took the 4-hour trek down to Thomas County. It started with their propaganda machine rolling with all the tradition of winning and all that, which was great. A great build-up, lots of prayer before the game, things like that, for them to then go in on us. I mean, we played a very hard-fought game, but we had to play about 15 people, the officials and the team.
Oh, you had to play the team and the officials. So your issue was with the officials as well.
My issue was with the officials and the things that they allowed this particular school to do.
Now, you told me that the game went into overtime.
Double
overtime. And what was the final score of this game?
It was 27-24.
Now,
27-24.
Are you going to tell us what these officials did or just make us guess?
Excuse me. In the fourth quarter with 48.5 seconds left on the clock, we were going to snap the ball, and we look up, and it's 1:15 now on the clock. The clock has been changed.
So you're saying they added some time to the clock.
And then when our kicker was about to kick the game-winning field goal, they have a jumbotron, and what they did was in fluorescent lights, they flashed good luck in the brightest of fluorescent lights that you would never do when kickers are on the field. So they flashed that while the kicker was kicking.
Wait a minute. The scandal. They wish someone good luck during a sporting competition?
So you
who's in charge of these events?
So they added time on the clock. Let me make sure I got your complaints down. They added time, and an opponent in their home stadium use their equipment to distract the kicker.
Amongst other things, there were other violations and penalties. And this game can be seen on the internet. You can Google Creekside versus Thomas County Central, and you can actually see a number of inconsistencies in the calls that were made in the game. But it was a very hard-fought contest. If we'd put them away early, we could have not had to deal with all these issues if we'd done some things on our part and really put them away early. So it's not as much the fact that they did all those things. We gave them the opportunity by not putting them away early, not playing the game that we probably needed to play.
So reflecting back now after a couple of days.
No,
of
reflecting
looking
back
at
that night.
Even that night?
Even that night. I mean, I'm a
Okay.
rational parent. I'm a very rational parent. My son is a high school senior, and we've been playing this game. He's been playing since he was playing Pee Wee football. We've played in a lot of situations. He's won Super Bowls and other championships as a kid, and I've been on the other side of it where parents thought that their team had been cheated, things like that. So being that, I look at the fact that if anybody does what they're supposed to do and put a team away fast, then you don't have those options. Those things are taken off the table. You'd have to go through a whole lot to then take something, from a team. So if we had done the things that we needed to do early, we wouldn't have had that situation late.
Okay. One touching thing I like to hit on is, as you said, your son was a senior.
Yes.
And you just saw him watched his last high school game. Were you emotional at the end?
A little bit. I probably watched him more because I knew that he's always presented the strong face. He's very quiet. He doesn't jive a lot. He doesn't do much, and I could tell by his body movement. This thing right here gonna get knocked out.
No, I'm saying
what
you were saying
that?
you were saying that he's real quiet, and I'm wondering where'd he get that from. But
he got that from his father.
Oh, I can imagine.
Okay, so neither one of you cried at the last game.
He did.
He did.
He did, as
Okay.
well as many others on the team. It was, I think, the heartbreak of the loss compounded with a number of things that had taken place during the game. It was tough. And then I think you realize that this is it. There's not another down of football, high school wise. Now it's on to something else.
And seeing your son cry didn't make you cry?
No. I managed public housing for 15 years in Atlanta, so tears do not move me. Sorry.
So managing public toughened your son toughened you for your son.
I promise you that I'm a mother of 4, so I mean I've seen tears many times over. So the
Sports Jock, are you one of those nostalgic dudes? Like your last down of high school football, did you get all misty eyed, or were you thinking I'm finna go to college on a scholarship?
I was thinking I'm about to go to college on a scholarship.
I was never a dude to look back and go, I'm gonna miss this. It was always Deuce.
We were sorry. We only won one game my senior year,
Right.
so I cried the first game. I didn't have to cry in the 10th game. We won one game. That's the only game I remember winning that year. I mean,
well, they thought they were going to take it
the whole
further.
season.
They had a really good season. So hey, that's that. And Twitty is going to die when I finish with this microphone. In just a moment. Just announcing that to the world.
He's already
murder
dead.
will happen.
He's a corpse already. There's so many
And
people. Hitting
mention
this.
until we mention the fact that he's overusing that sound bite, he's just gonna keep on, like pouring gas in the back of a Range Rover. If that don't get the reaction he want, he gonna shoot the windows out.
That's how he sound every time Carolina loses. We'll be back. Now he's got all the sound effects, man. We'll be back with more of the Sports Jock Show. Thank you, tall lady.
Thank you.
I
Right after
guess.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park? Getting frisky in the dark, I gave your eye a poke. I think the dog is also in the bed. Do I smell smoke, you and me? We never ever ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face to face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text. And together, we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. If you stack their desks one atop the other, it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. That's 12 Empire State Buildings. But what's truly scary is that another stack is going up tomorrow. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Sister Christian, oh, the time has come.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. We like to thank the tall lady for sitting in and telling us her emotional story.
I guess.
Of how the lights distracted the kicker.
Imagine having lights at a football game. Who would do that? What kind of evil conglomerate?
It's called home field advantage. That's what it's called. That's why they try to cheat you when you're on the road. That's what they will do. Stop the clock. But the tall lady is always a great story. She is so sweet when she wants to be.
I'm still waiting on that to reveal itself. and Bad Producer, was that your ode to nostalgia, the Sister Christian song? Was that as nostalgic as you could get for us right there?
Oh, but speaking of officiating, last week the NFL fined a referee. I told y'all Roger Goodell will find anybody. He doesn't care who, when, and where. He's trying to find somebody to fine. He fined referee Tony Corrente $9,000, Big Kenny, a game check. Tony left his mic on during the fourth quarter of the Dolphins-Colts game. He was talking to his other refs. You know how they huddle up?
Right.
So as they were huddling up, you can actually hear him cursing at one of, and it's like, wow, really? I mean, this is when you hear it, it's like, isn't that what you thought happened in them little huddles? That you curse someone out. But he left his mic on, and you were able to hear it in the stands and on CBS. Let's play that clip.
Game here. They're going to have another conference on this thing. This button forces me. That was, God damn it!
We'd like to apologize for that. He didn't know his microphone was on.
One more time. You got to let
Yeah, I'm trying to get exactly what it was he said.
They're going to have another conference on this thing. This button forces me. That was, God damn it!
We'd like to apologize for that. He didn't know his microphone was on.
He said the GD word.
Right.
You can faintly hear him.
I heard that the last part. I'm saying, what was it that he said before that?
That's what I could. The only part that I made out was the GD part. And that cost him a game check. $9,000. That's a lot of money for GD. Is that not correct?
Wait, so let me get this right. They make $9,000 a game for officiating?
Yes.
Is that what I'm supposed to understand?
Yes.
That makes me want to curse on air right now. I'm in the wrong business. Gosh darn it, is as far as I'll go. But I mean, I'm amazed that with the officials being able to be heard from the field, that they don't have someone in a control booth controlling the on and off of the microphone. I mean, human error is something that you can expect in any field. And with all that's going on in the NFL game. The fact that he left his microphone on is something that doesn't surprise me. Now, the fact that he started to rant and didn't hear himself ranting until he got to the offensive word concerns me a little bit, but it's noisy in a football stadium. So
and to find him as though the referees have a high job out there. They're out there running. They're out there trying to call things. There's a lot of pressure on them to. I mean, I think you brought more attention to this than needed, and to find a man a whole check for this kind of act, like you're saying, Big Kenny, it's a human error. The thing is on his waist. I'm surprised a lot of them don't mess, and click it sometimes as they're talking. And sometimes you do hear like players on the field. You hear them cursing the referee out from a distance.
Right.
Because the microphone is on. But a whole game check, I thought this was very extreme.
But now, as the parent of a 7-year-old, it's kind of an awkward moment when you're watching something that's supposed to be family friendly. And then you have to explain to your child what that means. Why did he say that, or what does that word mean? Ooh, he said a bad word, Daddy. So I can see where they might use a fine like that to try and police the other refs to make sure that no matter what you're doing, you pay extra special attention to the fact if your microphone's on or off.
And if you take that 7-year-old to any game,
they'll hear way worse.
Right. From his uncle. That'll be sitting there saying GD,
right.
Mark Sanchez,
right,
every time. You
effing bum. right.
So to try to make it, I just thought it was a little extreme. A whole check. I mean, I know it's a lot of money in one way for reffing a game, but it is $9,000 a game that they make. But that's a lot of money to find a man for just 2 words.
I bet he was really cursing after that. I can't believe this. Boop boop and find me. Beep beep.
He might never turn it on right again.
Right. He just sign language.
He'd be halfway done by the time you figure out what he's saying. But $9,000 NFL game. See that, Big Kenny? There's other professions out there, man. We can all get into.
I should have been wearing a zebra shirt.
18,000. That's why the bad producer tried to do it, but he's a terrible ref. He let his emotions take over him.
If he's anything like as a ref, as he is as a producer, I can only imagine those games.
Yeah, he calling stuff 3 minutes later. Holding, man, that was 9 plays ago. We'll be back after this with more of the Sports Talk Show.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that. I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The forest is a treasured and magical place.
Hello, Bambi. Hello, little prince. Hello. Hello there.
But a wildfire can destroy its beauty for a lifetime. It's always wildfire season somewhere in America. Nearly 9 out of 10 wildfires nationwide are caused by the carelessness of humans and could be prevented. But together, we can make a difference.
Watch what I can do.
Help protect the home of our forest friends.
He can call me a flower if he wants to.
To find out more, log on to SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
This message has been brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, the National Association of State Foresters, and the Ad Council.
Come on! You could do it!
And now, back to the sports jock, Wayne Gandy.
The truth is, he will throw your ass in the ocean. It's time to wrap things up on the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy, and when you hear the sounds of the ocean, it means that the Sports Jock Show is coming to an end. We'd like to thank my man Deion Grant, Super Bowl champ, Tennessee Volunteer, for coming into the studio, helping us out. I'd like to thank the tall lady for sharing and ranting and crying on our mic as well. Our boy Han Vance for calling in college football. I know the true story, Han. I saw you with your Georgia gear on up at Dantana's. It's called a hangover, not a cold.
That wasn't me. He kept saying that wasn't me.
And our boy Doug Fireball Turnbull for calling in, helping us with NASCAR. Always great to talk auto racing with him. Big Kenny. 2 or 3 things before we go. I see they added a minute to my segment without letting me know. Funny guys over there, I tell you.
That was so they could say something.
They wanted to say. Hope Solo and Jeremy Stevens did tie the knot, even after they had their domestic fight, in which somebody got tased. They say Jeremy had ran up, tried to hide from the police in the bedroom, but a couple of hours after he got out of lockout, they did get married. So Hope Solo, I think they only known each other like 3 months too. It's been a short engagement.
Obviously, they still need to learn some things.
If they're fighting the day before the marriage.
Don't wait till it gets to Shamiqua Holesclaw status. Just let it go now.
Your boy Reggie Bush, I hear, has him a baby on the way. I only mention this because the girl he's having it with looks fine in a picture. Yeah, you have to, look her up.
Reggie Bush baby mama.
Yeah, Lalit.
Lalit?
Yeah, she was a competitive dancer. I didn't even know what that was.
Now, what does that mean, competitive dancer?
Hey, it was
like the next booty on duty is Lalit.
Lalit, I think that's how you say it. L-I-T. As you look it up, you see it over there?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Competitive dancer. We'd like to send our condolences out to David Gherkin Jr.'s family. The fans got rowdy up in Buffalo this past Thursday. Buffalo hadn't had a night game since 2008. Mr. Gherkin was thrown out of the stadium for being too rowdy and drowned on his way. I guess he was walking to the bar. He was supposed to meet his brothers after the game. He fell. He was supposedly in the river for like 7 hours, so they think he died of hypothermia. You want to hand me something here? You want to do the picks? Okay. So
you got to be real drunk
for that to happen.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is his brother and friends were at the game with him. Like somebody was supposed to go. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're getting kicked out. And you're so drunk that you're getting kicked out.
Yeah, somebody should have been taking care of him. Let's do these picks real quick so that this guy... Hold on. Let me make sure. Remember last week when I told you can't pick games until the game happens? And then the Steelers were playing on Monday night. The Chiefs. Roethlisberger gets hurt. So he's not there for the next game. But you wanted me to pick the Steeler game last night. You have to wait for the injury report. That's what the mob does. So, hey, what makes you any different? Want to get your picks in. Well, tonight, as we said, we have the Bears. Why isn't that on here? See, Big Kenny, what's that? You said fax. What else can they send it on? Just drive it over.
Right. Text it. Just bring it by the studio.
Drive your resume over for producing a show.
Send it in a twit pic. We don't.
The Bears versus 49ers tonight.
Bears.
I'm going to take the Bears, too. Houston versus Detroit. Thanksgiving.
Houston.
Houston. I'm going with Houston myself. Dallas, Washington, which is Thanksgiving as well.
Redskins.
Listen, Dallas, I'm going to go with Tony Romo. Tony, I'm picking you for a week, man. Come on for me. Come on through for me. Thursday night's game, the Jets, the Patriots. Who you got?
Jets. Even against the Patriots.
Oh, you're still wasting your money. I'm going with the Patriots. Pittsburgh versus Cleveland on Sunday.
Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I have to take Steel Nation. Come on, Leftwich. Win a game for me. Denver, Kansas City.
Denver.
Nobody cares is what I will say on that. Atlanta versus Tampa, traveling to Tampa Bay. What you got, Big Kenny? You're looking a little skeptical over there on that
Atlanta.
one.
I'm going to go with Atlanta. I mean, after yesterday, they got me a little bit concerned, but I'm going to hang with them.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Birds, too. Come on. Falcons on that. And he did it again. He wants me to bet the San Fran game against New Orleans. San Fran plays tonight, so I can't bet that game. The man is the man is wild, Big Kenny, I tell you. One other thing that stacked before I get into the ocean, Big Kenny, there has been 166 suicides in the Army this year. Does that number fascinate you? 166 suicides
in the Army.
In the Army.
And that's not all branches of service.
Just
the
Army, yes.
No, I mean that there's been an upswing in military suicide.
Yeah, so that's a crazy stat. I was reading that 20 in the month of October. But we are in the ocean part of our show, and that always allows the sports jock to vent just a little bit. And I think a lot of us can agree on what I'm about to say. Cracker Jacked. Cracker Jacked. That's with a D, not Cracker Jacks. Frito-Lay is coming out with a new product called Cracker Jacked. It now has 70 milligrams of caffeine added to the already sugary, tooth-rotting, sweet popcorn. So now you want me to give my child sugar and caffeine. Don't we have enough murders in Chicago than to get people jacked up on cracker? And you know what? I'm going to throw you in the ocean twice. Couldn't you come up with a better name than Cracker Jacked? Couldn't you have done that, Frito-Lay? Cracker Jack. You better talk to the FDA because 5 Hour Energy is killing people. So watch out for this Cracker Jacked.
Walk the plank.
For Big Kenny, the funny man. I see. Help, I tell you. For the sports jock, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Eat plenty of turkey. Sleep. Eat more turkey. Sleep. Eat more turkey. Sleep. We'll see you next Monday on the Sports Jock Show.
Happy holidays.
The Lone Ranger. Fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver. The Lone